Singer-songwriter Todd Rundgren is best known for classics like Bang the Drum All Day and Hello, It's Me. He is also one of the most successful record producers of all time, having produced dozens and dozens of albums, including Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell, one of the best-selling albums of all time, sold over 40 million copies. He's also been an early adopter and innovator with new technology. Todd Rundgren was one of the first artists to use the internet to distribute his music, and one of the first artists to use interactive technology in his music. He is about to embark on the world's first virtual concert tour, and that'll be in Denver on Friday, March the 12th. Todd Rundgren joins me right now. Welcome.
Dave, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm in Hawaii. That's where I live now, so we're not feeling the effects of winter yet.
What effects of winter does Hawaii ever feel, aside from a little snow on the mountains?
Well, it does get cooler here and often wetter. But yeah, I don't recall ever having seen snow in my yard.
I'm looking at some out my window here in Denver right now as we speak.
Yeah, here it's already started.
Well, listen, there have been a lot of artists and bands that have done online performances and done virtual concerts, but this is the first virtual concert tour. Walk us through how this is going to work.
Well, as everyone may be aware, almost nobody has been on tour since this pandemic reached our shores. And I was scheduled to go out originally in May, and then that got moved to later in the year a couple of times, and then to early 2021, and now the earliest looks like it'll be in late 2021. And it just seemed like too long to go without, getting in contact with the fans and, sharing our music with them. And we thought, what if we took everything that we possibly could out of the touring experience, except for the travel. In other words, we can't do the travel part, but we could do something that was sort of virtually a tour by doing a different show for each region or each city that we would have played in had we actually been on the road. And then we narrowcast them to that particular city and sell tickets to that show. And then we more or less try to customize the show to the city that we're playing in or to the locale, so that, we sort of arrange to have our catering be from a restaurant or some, famous eatery perhaps in Denver, and have that shipped out to us where we're playing, and then invite people to order from the same place, and we can all eat together while we're watching the show. And feature landmarks and, points of interest in the particular cities we go to, because that's a big part of, being on the road. That you bring people out from the local community to all come together, and I often don't see each other except in events like this. And so even though we're going virtual, it's a way to give, each place we go to a sense of that locality, community, getting together for a specific event, that sort of thing.
Todd Rundgren's Clearly Human Live virtual tour will be in Denver Friday, March the 12th, and you can get tickets at toddrundgren.nocapshows.com. They're $35. You're using a technology called Geo Fencing, which is usually used in marketing. People might not know, but when you get an ad in your social media feed or on your phone from a local retailer, you've been geo-fenced. Your location has been used, and you're using that in selling tickets and bringing the people together for these individual markets.
That's basically it. If you buy a ticket to, for instance, a show in the Denver area, there is a technology that actually locates you, says where you are, and therefore anyone outside of that area, unless they've bought a special ticket, anyone outside that area can't view the show, so it makes it more special, particular to that location. There's other technologies as well that we're incorporating that are fairly new. There's the virtual audience aspect, which is really for our benefit as performers, so that we don't feel like we're just playing into a black hole. It's the same technology that you've seen on American Idol or America's Got Talent, where the audience is essentially all on screens. That's part of it. Another part of it is that you can have the option of selecting your viewpoint on the show. We'll have, obviously, a live director's cut of the show, but then we'll have ISO cameras and things like that all around the stage, and you can, while you're watching the show, pick one of those views. There is live chat while the whole show is going on, so you can communicate with others who are watching the show. And maybe other little, niceties as we figure out how to implement them to make it just feel as local as possible.
Todd Rundgren's Clearly Human live virtual tour again is on Friday, March the 12th here in Denver. ToddRundgren.nocapshows.com. COVID-19 necessitated you doing something like this, but it seems completely in your wheelhouse. You're an artist who has embraced technology at every step of your career and has been a real innovator and trailblazer. This almost feels like something you would have done even without COVID-19.
Well, I had been thinking about doing something like this for a couple of years now, but that was because of the effect that climate was having on travel. And it was getting more and more difficult to book a tour where you showed up on schedule because of, a storm in one major air hub will ricochet and echo through the entire system. And I was just finding myself, canceled flights, delayed flights, panic mode all the time, just trying to get somewhere. And I thought, at some point we may be forced to do something virtual like this just because of the fact that you can't depend on the normal transportation system. But then the virus happened, and I hadn't factored in the possibility that the audience wouldn't make it to the gig because, they can't leave their homes. So I was already kind of on this track, but the virus essentially pushed me over the edge that, it's not a question of when or if, it's got to be done now, just because we don't know how often we're going to find ourselves in situations.
Now, you have toured a lot over your career, obviously, but you're best known for kind of being in the studio and doing things on a more solo level, being a one-man band kind of thing. Do you think you'll miss being out on the road, or is this a new future for you where you get to be in one location and you get to kind of have all of your tools and toys all around you and reach people anyway?
Well, the thing that you don't do when you're in your own little echo chamber is get, direct feedback from your audience. Everything is kind of delayed. That's the whole experience behind playing live and going out on the road, is that immediate communication between you and the audience. And that's hard to replace. We're trying to figure out everything we possibly can to make it feel like, a true local thing, a thing that's meant for your town, and to make you feel like you're in a virtual space with your neighbors, while you're enjoying the show. And when we do have the opportunity to go out again on the road live, we will certainly take advantage of that. But factoring in everything that we've learned about this modern world, things like viruses and transportation breakdowns and all that other stuff. So going virtual, I think, is going to be part of everyone's sort of normal experience going forward at this point. Just how much of it is the only question.
Todd Rundgren's Clearly Human live virtual tour again Friday, March the 12th. You can get tickets starting at $35 at toddrundgren.nocapshows.com. I know you're going to perform your 1989 album Nearly Human. Are you going to do like a start to finish presentation of that album?
It's not, it's not a literal presentation. I don't think we ever did that. We did, when the album first came out, we did a real world tour behind it. Just because the economics allowed it, I still had a label that would give tour support. But we never did play it, literally first song to last song. But we play most all of the songs on the record. Other songs from that era, there was the follow-up album, Second Wind, and we'll play some of that. And then, of course, band favorites from the entire catalog will be in there somewhere as well.
Hello, It's Me, and Can We Still Be Friends, and all those old classics, hopefully?
Well, I never name which songs are going to happen because then people expect that particular song, and if you don't play it for any reason, then they get bent out of shape. So let's just say I guarantee that you will hear some of the songs that you expect to hear, but I'm not going to say exactly which ones. That'll become apparent by the time we've done the show.
Well, it's a really interesting concept. As I mentioned, you've always been an innovator in using technology in your music and in your performing, and this is a really unique way, again, that was caused by COVID-19, but maybe it's the way that music is moving in the meantime. Also in the meantime, if you want to check out Todd Rundgren's Christmas song Floppy, you've chosen an interesting subject.
It's a Dutch song, and it's Floppy is the name of a rabbit, and it's a very it's an interesting tale, put it that way.
Okay, I was going to call it delightfully horrifying. That gets progressively more and more grim as you listen, but it's great.
I know. It's like what Christmas is like in Holland.
And in the Rundgren home. Again, Todd Rundgren's Clearly Human Live virtual tour, Friday, March the 12th. Get your tickets at toddrundgren.nocapshows.com. A pleasure to talk to you.
My pleasure, as always. Talk to you soon.